It was a quiet Sunday morning, the kind where the sun pours in just right through the kitchen windows and the whole house smells like cinnamon toast and fresh coffee. I was standing at the kitchen counter, flipping through a recipe book I hadn't opened in months, when I heard the knock at the door. It was 3 soft taps, followed by a pause, then 2 more. I smiled to myself. That was Ryan's knock. My nephew had this specific way of knocking that he started doing as a kid, like a secret code between us. I opened the door, and there he was, tall, lean, with that same boyish grin I remembered from when he used to run through my house in Batman pajamas. Except now, he was 23 and home from college for the summer. His mom, my sister Melanie, had taken a job overseas that year, so Ryan had been spending more time with me lately. We had always been close, but that summer marked a turning point in our relationship. "Aunt Claire," he said, giving me a quick hug as he stepped inside. "You always smell like vanilla and coffee." I laughed, tousling his already messy brown hair. "And you still have terrible timing." I was just about to start baking. His eyes lit up like he was 10 years old again. "Chocolate chip cookies? Is there any other kind?" I said, handing him a spatula. "You're helping." We spent the morning baking and catching up. Ryan talked about school, his classes, his friends. He seemed a little distracted though, like something was on his mind. I could see it in the way he stared at the cookies baking in the oven, or the way he hesitated before answering my questions. Something was off, but I didn't push. I knew he'd tell me when he was ready. Later that evening, after dinner, we sat out on the back porch watching the sunset. It was one of those perfect golden hours, where everything looks like a movie. Ryan was unusually quiet, sipping his iced tea slowly. Finally, after what felt like forever, he said, "Aunt Claire, can I ask you something kind of weird?" I looked at him, setting down my glass. "Of course. You can ask me anything." He shifted in his seat, his hands fidgeting with the label on his drink bottle. "Okay, so it's more like a wish, actually." "A wish?" I asked, raising my eyebrows. "Like a birthday candle kind of wish?" He nodded. "Sort of. I've just had this thing I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I trust you more than anyone, so I thought maybe you'd say yes." His words were slow and careful, as if afraid they might break something between us. I leaned in gently. "Ryan, you're making me nervous." "What is it?" He looked down at his shoes, then back up at me. "I just want to be seen. Not judged. Not fixed. Just seen. For who I am. Even the parts one haven't shown anyone." The weight in his voice sank deep into me. It wasn't what I expected, but it was honest. "Raw." I reached out and placed my hand on his. "Ryan, I see you. I always have. You don't need to hide from me." His eyes glistened just a bit. "You sure?" "Absolutely," I said. He exhaled, long and relieved. "Then can I show you something?" "Not tonight, but tomorrow. I need time to get it ready." "Of course," I said and meant it. The next day, Ryan spent most of the morning in the guest room where he was staying. I heard him moving around, opening drawers, quietly singing along to music. He came out around noon, dressed simply in jeans and a hoodie, and asked if we could talk again out back. The tension in him had eased a bit, replaced by something closer to anticipation. Once we were settled, he pulled out his phone and opened a folder. "I want to show you something I've been working on. But it's personal. It's who I am when no one's looking." He handed me the phone, and I watched a short video he had made. It was a collection of photos, journal entries, and short voice clips. A visual diary of sorts. In it, Ryan opened up about his struggles with anxiety, about feeling different, about moments in his life where he had pretended to be someone else just to fit in. He talked about his love for art, the poetry he wrote but never shared, and his journey toward accepting his identity, something he had only recently come to terms with. As I watched, my heart broke and healed at the same time. I felt honored that he trusted me with this piece of himself. When the video ended, I looked up at him. "Ryan, thank you. That was beautiful. I'm so proud of you." "You're not mad?" he asked. "Mad?" "Ryan, no. Why would I be mad?" He shrugged, a small gesture full of years of hidden fears. "I don't know. I guess I just didn't want to disappoint you." "You could never disappoint me," I said, pulling him into a hug. "You're exactly who you're supposed to be." That night, we sat under the stars. No words needed. It was a quiet kind of peace, the kind that comes when someone finally feels accepted. I realized then that this was more than just a summer visit. It was a turning point for both of us. In the following days, Ryan opened up even more. He read me one of his poems, a raw and honest piece about losing himself in a world that didn't understand him. I listened without judgment, letting every word settle into the silence between us. I shared stories, too, about my own fears, my mistakes, the choices I'd made. We weren't just aunt and nephew anymore. We were friends, confidants, equals in a world that often felt unkind. One morning, as we sat on the porch again, Ryan turned to me and said, "I think I want to publish some of my poems. Maybe start a blog or something." I smiled. "Then do it. Share your voice. The world needs more of that." "But what if people don't get it?" "Then they're not your people," I said simply. "The ones who matter will understand. And the rest, they'll catch up." He nodded, letting my words sink in. And that night, he created his blog. He called it Ryan Unfiltered. I was his first subscriber. By the end of the summer, Ryan had blossomed. He wasn't hiding anymore. He laughed louder, stood taller, and spoke more freely. And I had learned something too. That sometimes, the best gift you can give someone is a safe space to be exactly who they are. When it was time for him to head back to school, I packed him a box of cookies and slipped a small notebook into his bag. Inside was a note, "For all the thoughts you're brave enough to share, and the ones you're still figuring out. I'll always be here to read them." He hugged me tight at the door, that same knock echoing in my memory. "Thanks for saying yes," he whispered. "Thanks for asking," I replied. And as I watched him drive away, I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of something beautiful. Ryan had made a wish, and I had said yes. But in doing so, he gave me a gift too, the reminder that love, at its core, is about seeing someone fully and choosing them anyway.